Coming in, yeah.
So, we've spoken about Paratici, we've spoken about Conte, we've spoken about Spurs and obviously their hopes and dreams and all that sort of stuff. Let's talk about the Premier League. Let's talk about Chelsea Tottenham. It's going to be a good game, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is going to be good. I mean, I saw bits and pieces from your game against Everton. Didn't really fill me with much confidence for Chelsea. Obviously, we played really well. We were the biggest scorers of the opening game of the season against Southampton. I'm not going to lie, I might get laughed at this after the game, but this is actually the most confident I've probably ever been going to Chelsea away.
Really?
Everyone knows our record at Stamford Bridge. It's been absolutely terrible. We've won once there in the past however many years, a long time. And with the two teams coming into it with the, the attitude around the two clubs, with the confidence around the two clubs, this is the most confident I'm coming into it ever, probably going into the Bridge.
It kind of worries me, but doesn't at the same time, right? Because if I was you, I would be as well. I'd be sitting there going, right, cool, fantastic, this should be good, let's see what happens. You're saying it's the most confident you've been. What makes you feel that way? Like you mentioned the goals we haven't been scoring, X, Y, and Z, but what makes you feel like we are in the position for the taking, basically, compared
I think wasn't when we last beat you actually when Conte was it? Wasn't Conte your manager?
At the Bridge, yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, it was. No, it was Conte.
Was it Conte?
Yeah.
So you beat us under Sarri.
Not at the Bridge.
The 18-19 season.
No, we beat you at Wembley. Yeah. That was when Son rounded Rudiger and all these players.
God, I remember that.
But no, look, I think. I think you're misunderstanding me of saying I'm so confident to come and win the game. I'm the most confident I've been coming to Stamford Bridge because I've never ever had any sort of slight bit of confidence about me at all coming to Stamford Bridge because it's a place where we historically lose a lot. I think we can come and get all 3 points, but I tell you now, I'll probably snatch your hand off for a point, to be honest, just because it's Spurs at the Bridge. But I think that why I think we can come and get all 3 points is because when you're looking at Chelsea, they look like a bit of a fractured dressing room. They look a bit like a fractured club at the moment. Not playing well, didn't play well for a majority of the back end of last season. You're looking at Spurs, we had a very good end to the last season, getting top 4 over Arsenal as well, which was massive for us, back in the Champions League, made all these good signings. There's a massive feel-good factor at the club at the moment. And that was backed up by our first game of the season, sitting top of the league after one game, scoring 4 goals on the opening season, our biggest score on the opening season since, like 1985 or something like that. And there's just, like I said, a massive feel-good factor around the club. So I think it's a big opportunity for us to kick on and really take 3 points at Stamford Bridge this weekend.
I think the way we're playing football at the moment as well, I think we're playing some really good football. I think the structure of the team is pretty much on point right now. And Chelsea, they've been on poor form for a while. Ever since what happened with Abramovich, they haven't really been putting in good performances. And I know they got third, or they ended up sneaking third last season after a really bad end to the season. And what I saw at the beginning of the season, even though you beat Everton 1-0, wasn't a great performance. So I think just the form of both teams, Spurs on a higher trajectory right now. So, and also you beat us 3 times in a month in January last season, and we want revenge for that. Trust me, Conte is thinking about that. I can tell you that 100%.
I'm looking forward to that. I do like Conte.
It feels like both clubs have really picked up from where they've left off last season, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
That's fair. I think that's probably the best evaluation. I think it's difficult to say after one game. Because it could be a case of
course,
we just had a bit of an off day because we did obviously going to Goodison before last weekend. We hadn't won there in 5 years, so there was the whole Goodison curse and all of that. But at the same time, the football we were playing was the same as last year. It was slow. We like I was saying sort of obviously yesterday. Just so everyone knows, this is filmed on the Tuesday, so if things are slightly out of kilter, we are very sorry. But we're trying new things. The beauty of this series is just getting there and trying different bits and bobs on different days. But obviously we're selling Timo Werner. That came out on Monday. You know, I feel like we had options and different things where we can be a bit more direct and do things, but the football we're playing just doesn't allow for that. So that's why I'm saying this whole process, you know, we've got to back Tuchel and see what he wants. Like, I think there is going to be people that are going to get slightly annoyed at, you know, the lack of change, but you're not going to get that in one window. And I think the problem with Chelsea is we've got a lot of players from so many different managers. I mean, in that squad, I think we've still got a couple of Conte signings. Let's go through it. No, we don't actually. Hang on. No, we don't. Wait.
Well, because Christensen was a Conte.
Christensen came through the academy. Rudiger
was the academy.
Rudiger was signed by Conte.
Yeah,
he's
Marcos
gone.
Alonso's going. You know, right wing back. We had Victor Moses or Zappacosta, and right now we're not playing either of them. It's Reece James. Centre mid. Kante's probably the last man standing, but Kante wasn't a Conte signing. That deal was already done before he showed up. So, you know, we're slowly like phasing out different players from different eras, and we've got so many different styles. Tuchel's first actual signing was Lukaku, and that wasn't even his signing. So, you know, now we're seeing players coming that he wants. Hopefully we'll see a difference.
You're cursed with strikers.
Oh, God,
Proper cursed.
I wouldn't even say, in some cases I wouldn't even say we're cursed. I think
You are.
Timo Werner, Timo Werner and Lukaku were just two completely wrong signings. Timo Werner is a player who, if you spent your time watching him, he did deliver for Chelsea because every single time we played, or when he was good, when he tore you apart, he was playing the ball in behind a high line and chasing it and making a big difference.
When he tore us apart for Chelsea?
No, when he was
for Leipzig, yeah.
You know, you were playing a high line and you got him behind, and that was how.
But that's the thing, you've had two strikers there, both of them with proven records, both of them with the complete opposite strikers. One's like a target man, poacher kind of muscle, strong striker Lukaku, and then one's a very quick running behind striker. And for one reason or other, they both failed. But why?
Yeah, but it's a historic thing as well, though. It's not just these two players, it's a historic thing. You go back, Shevchenko, Torres, Kezman, you know, all these players.
Crespo.
You
probably had two good strikers under Abramovich, Drogba and Costa, and that's it.
So it's how we played. We played to their strength. We didn't do that for the other players, you know. I think, like I was saying, Timo Werner, he was a ball in behind, right? I'd spend 15, 20 minutes in a game just watching his movement. The beauty of Timo Werner was he would stretch the play. He'd allow, because he was so quick, he'd take the focus off of a striker because that's what, you know, it's how he changed his game. He went from, okay, I'm going to struggle to beat that box, let me try and help the team in another way. He did that, which is why, for example, for me, I don't think he was a failure in terms of what we brought him in to do, but I will always like him because he gave everything and he changed his game and he tried to be different and he tried to bring something to the team still, and he had his moments. Romelu Lukaku, again, we're talking about target man. Chelsea, when it comes to moving the ball, it's then we, you know, got to go across the Atlantic Ocean to go to LA. Then we need to, you know, head over to Italy and eat some spaghetti. Then we need to head to Paris. Oh, then by the time everyone's done that, the team's back, and then we finally get it to point B. And then everyone's like, right, okay, now what do we do? Okay, we'll start again now. It's like, no, just get the ball. If Timo Werner's running in behind, just go bang. You know, this is why City and Liverpool are so good. They can pass the ball about. They can do what they need to do. But tell you what, when they need to make a switch or they just need to move the ball, they'll do it. We don't do that, and it drives me nuts. We have to make that extra pass every single time, and I don't know why it is.
Yeah, not Tuchel's fault then.
No, because it was happening under Lampard, and it happened under Sarri, it happened under Conte. It's been the same problem with every single coach, and I don't know what it is. It's not. I think there's a lot of differences that need to be made, but you know, like I'm saying, this is a process, and I think with how they're operating, hopefully Tuchel gets given the time to enable that process. You know, I don't want to see him go again, and then we're in the same situation. And right now, if you were to ask me, I don't think there's a better manager out there fitting for Chelsea. You know, who's available right now that's going to come in and make a difference?
Yeah, there's not many like, you know, elite man. I think like Tuchel is just in like the category just below elite manager. You know what I mean?
I think he hit elite when he wins the Champions League. I think you win a Champions League.
Well, so is Di Matteo elite?
No, but he kind of is an anomaly because he was the caretaker manager. He wasn't like, the big boss. You know.
But
Tuchel's
I think
elite.
Tuchel is just in the category just below elite.
I'd say he's elite because he's managed.
Because Conte hasn't won the Champions League, you still call him an elite manager.
But the other reason he's an elite manager is because he's managed several elite clubs. You know, Inter Milan, Juventus. Obviously, he was linked with. If you get linked with a Real Madrid job, you know you're an elite coach. And obviously, you know, Tottenham not an elite club yet. I feel Tottenham are just in the bracket under super club. I'd say, but you know he's managed a good club in Spurs. Tuchel's done Dortmund. He's done PSG, so he's managed the superstars, and he got down to a Champions League final, which no one else did. And then he's come to Chelsea with already the elite super club status, and carried on, and then won us a Champions League.
When you're talking about elite managers, I'm talking about Guardiola, Klopp, Conte. You know, these kind of managers. I don't think Tuchel is just there just yet.
What makes you think that?
I think that he should have been doing a better job at PSG, and I think if Pep Guardiola or Klopp or one of these managers went into PSG, I think they go and win the Champions League there.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think
about the reason why it's not worked at PSG, and I don't think it is the manager. Because Ancelotti couldn't win a Champions League.
Yeah, look, you've got Leonardo there, and obviously there was a power struggle and everything like that. But I still think if Conte goes there, Klopp goes there, Guardiola goes there, I think they get a better. They get probably a calibre of player that listen to the manager a bit more. And I think there was a massive power struggle with Leonardo, and I don't think Conte, Klopp, or Guardiola fall for that power struggle.
Yeah, but they have to if you're at manager.
Look at now. Leonardo's gone because they realise it hasn't been working now. They've got Campos in there. They've got a manager that can work with Campos, and I think they're going to do a lot of Galtier.
You don't even know who he is, but all right.
Well, Galtier's done really well at Nice and a few other French clubs as well.
Okay.
He won the league with Lille, did he?
He won the league at Lille, yeah.
Okay, so he doesn't fall that powerful, but then you don't feel too cool.
I think he's a very good manager, don't get me wrong. I think he's a very good manager.
He could be elite one day. But
yeah, I'm saying he will be. I think he will be elite one day, but right now, as it stands, I think he's just in that category just below.
Okay, so how does he get into that category for you to be an elite manager?
I think he needs to kick on with Chelsea first and foremost. I think that he comes in his first season, wins the Champions League, and you're thinking, all right, brilliant, you know, you're onto something really good here. Next season, everyone's talking about Chelsea, about, you know, fighting for the Premier League. And he just didn't do that, and it fell short. And I think you needed to fight for the Premier League last season.
You weren't going to fight for the Premier League last season.
But that was what everyone was saying coming into the league, because in the league, when you won the Champions League, you were looking unbeatable at times. You really were. And I don't know what happened, because you started the league really strong last season, really strong in Tuchel's first real season. And then you just fell off, and everyone's just like, what happened here?
Injury. I think the big thing for us was we lost Reece James and Ben Chilwell.
Yeah.
And Lukaku massively fell off.
And then Lukaku gave that interview when he was playing so well, and everyone's like, I think this is the thing, we're talking about recruitment, right? Lukaku, he's a target man, right? But he thinks he can run him behind, you know?
Well, he could under Conte.
Well, he could, but then at the times he'd be sitting there, but he was looking for that key pass, that opportunity to be like, give me the ball. And then he didn't get it. It's just like, it was the same with Werner. It'd be like, you'd find that pass and he'd be turning and going, play it into me and you will, you know, play onto me. Even you look at Man City, when they did that documentary that came out recently, and they were talking about Lukaku. You know, Pep Guardiola was preparing for Chelsea to go, pass, ball into Lukaku. Did we do that? No. The only time we did that, and we saw it work, was against Arsenal at the beginning of the season. You know, we played that ball, and we allowed him to use his physicality. But then, I don't know, like, when those injuries happened with Reece James and Chilwell in that Juventus game, you know, we fell off and mentally everything kind of went to pot.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, like, if you're an elite manager, you make Lukaku work for you up top. You just make it happen.
100%.
Fair enough.
I agree.
I think it's an interesting one, because I think, you know, I don't think Lukaku at Spurs, like for example, because he was linked with the move, wasn't he?
I think he'd be brilliant at Tottenham.
I think if Lukaku came to Spurs under Antonio Conte, he would get a lot of goals in the Premier League.
I think it's because the manager, you know, who he's playing under.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So, if Tuchel wants to, What's that?
It's the relationship between the coach.
If Tuchel wants to put himself in an elite bracket, he needs to be doing a lot better in the Premier League first and foremost, and he needs to be getting a lot more out of his players. And he's got a lot of players there, good players, that he's not getting the most out of, in my opinion.
Fair enough. We'll agree to disagree.
As always.
I'm not having that he's not an elite coach.
Why though?
The way what he does and how he manages.
But what's he done?
He does the players.
What's he done?
What he's done with PSG, what he did with Dortmund in terms of, at a time when everyone was kind of expecting them to take a period and go down. They'd lost Lewandowski, they were losing Hummels, they were losing Goetze. It was a transitional period. Ousmane Dembele was a young player coming in, they were completely changing things. He took on Bayern and won.
Yeah, but you didn't. Compare.
He won the cups, didn't he?
Yeah, but compare.
He won a league.
Compare Klopp's job at Dortmund to Tuchel's job at Dortmund.
It's a level.
That's what you call an elite manager.
Yeah, but then Klopp also had 9 years at Dortmund.
Yeah, and what did he do?
In a 9-year period, man.
Yeah, but you're talking about Tuchel picking up the scraps of what Klopp did at Dortmund as well.
Mm-hmm.
He laid the foundations.
That's fair enough. I mean, the foundations are gone, that's what I'm saying.
I think that you're making excuses for Tuchel, and elite managers don't get excuses made for them.
Fair enough. But then, at the same time, we're talking about elite managers. What about Mourinho at Spurs?
What about Mourinho? Was past his sell-by date, let's be honest.
Oh no! Look what he's doing at Roma.
What's he done?
He's turning the club around because he's given the opportunity to do so. Mourinho was not past his
Alright,
sell-by
look. Mourinho is nowhere near the manager that he was at Chelsea.
Granted. Okay.
And that's where he was at the peak of his career.
Mm-hmm. But he's not past his sell-by date.
Okay, fine. Past his sell-by date was a bit over the top, but he's past his best, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think the board didn't give him the best tools to achieve what he needed to achieve at Spurs. That's the crux of the matter.
He got you to a final and then got sacked.
Yeah, but that's not on him. That's not on him. That's on Daniel Levy.
Right, but this is what I mean by we're saying he's past his sell-by date.
No, I said I was a mistake saying that. I said past his best.
Okay, but I still think he's an elite manager because of what he's doing at Roma. Like he's taken a club which was bang average and was.
Yeah, but he needs to improve on that this season to really prove that. I think the problem with Mourinho at Spurs wasn't necessarily a tactical problem in terms of getting results. It was more
the personality clash, which we were talking
No,
about.
I don't even think it was that. I think he got on with a lot of the players, and you saw that he was getting the best out of all the elite players at Tottenham. I think the problem with him is he hasn't moved with the times when it comes to all the sports science and all that kind of stuff. I think how many times you saw Tottenham taking leads and losing them under Mourinho is because our fitness wasn't up there, and it's because Mourinho trusted the players a lot of the time to do their own fitness work, and he didn't make it his own responsibility to make sure that the team was in tip-top shape physically, and that let him down. I think that was a lot of the time that was his undoing at Tottenham. I think tactically we were pretty strong. I think Tottenham were top of the league for taking the lead in games, but we kept losing it. And I don't think it was totally tactically. I don't think it was totally because of his methods. I think it was because of the fitness of the team, and that's what let him down massively. Yeah. And that's what he's got to change in his ways if he's going to go back to what he was maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
I think we'll have to see what happens with that. I think
I still think he has it tactically. I still think he's a very good. I think that his tactics are what won the Conference League. I really believe that.
He's look, for me. Mourinho is. When we talk about elite coaches, this is when we're having this conversation about his personally. Is this personally? I just think it's the beauty of football, and what I love about these conversations is that this is all very, very, very subjective. And that's why I like talking about it. I think some people don't appreciate subjectivity of certain things. But for me, elite manager's criteria, Tuchel's hit all of it. For some people, he hasn't. That's fine. But we've gone off on a massive tangent when we said we wouldn't. So, let's get back to the game.
Yeah.
So, you're thinking, you're the most confident you've been a long time. Who are the players which, obviously we mentioned Kulusevski, we've mentioned other players in terms of their capabilities and their strengths. Who should we be looking out for?
I think us as a unit, completely as the team, the team I expect to play is the similar team to what we played against Southampton. So Ryan Sessegnon left wing back, Emerson right wing back, Romero, Dyer and Davis as a back three, and Bentancur and Højbjerg in the middle with Kane, Son and Kulusevski. And obviously the front three is going to be dynamite with Kane, Son, both elite players, with Kulusevski supporting. I think a big player which you actually got to watch out for is Christian Romero. Very strong in the tackle at the back, aggressive. You're going to have your wits about you with his shithousery as well. And, you know, he always makes himself an option going forward too. And obviously, you know very well how much Conte likes to utilise the wing-backs. And I think against Southampton, Sessegnon and Emerson were really strong. Put in really strong performances.
I was watching Match of the Day, and I was seeing carbon copies of how we used to play.
Yeah.
I was seeing like these wing-backs getting bored, like, okay, I could see what he wants and how this is all working now.
That's the only thing that really worries me about Sunday, is actually because your wing-backs are your biggest strength. Chilwell and Reece James, probably your two best players.
I
in
reckon it'll be
positions.
Cucurella that starts against you guys.
You reckon Cucurella, or even that? Those are two very good players. I'm not even that worried about stopping your front line. I think our back three, structurally, with the wing-backs, are going to be a very strong unit on Sunday. And I think at the moment, you're not looking particularly creative. But it's the wing-backs I worry about, because individually, they're much stronger right now as individuals. Although structurally we might still have the edge. As individuals, you could dominate on those wings, and if you do manage to get the upper hand, that's where you could get joy. So that's what worries me. But do I think we could get a lot of joy in our front three, and do I think our back three are going to be able to, and our back five are going to be able to stop your forward line? I'm confident about that, I am. But I think the wing backs are what worried me a lot more for the most for Sunday.
I think that's because that's again like the last season when we fell apart. It's because our wing backs weren't the players that we had. That we're talking about elite managed. They weren't elite players. You know, Chilwell and Reece James were a good team. And obviously, you know, Mason Mount, the way he plays and connected up with them and all that sort of stuff, you know, it was really important. And when you're missing 2 out of the 3 cogs, that's it really. It kind of, you've got to balance it out, and we were going to struggle to do that. So I think that overall, the whole situation was not ideal. But I think now we've got them back, we will see something better. And Cucurella, even he came on half an hour. You could see the dynamism he had straight away. Where you know, I was talking about how we weren't making those quick passes and it was a little bit lethargic. It wasn't a big thing, but I'm a guy for the details. I like noticing those little things. When he made a pass, it just had that extra bit of oomph. You know, he got it and he like bang straight into someone, and then they'd have that extra 1 or 2 seconds to turn around, look for the space, and make that pass, which would then progress it even more. And you know, I think that, you know, Chilwell's still on his way back. I think that there's, you know, we're not going to see the best out of him for a little while yet. Just take the ends off, yeah.
Yeah, just tiny bit of the edges.
But yeah, like the thing about Chilwell is he's going to be. He'll get back to his best because he's a young player.
How did he look on the weekend, Chilwell? I know you said Cucurella looked a lot better, but
he looked lethargic. But can you blame him? Like it's one of his first games back after doing your ACL. You know, it's like
still got in a great position, won that penalty, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he still played well. Like he was in the position, but again, he was a little bit lethargic. But is that a bad thing? Not really. You know, I wasn't too worried about it. I think that he's going to take time to get there, and that's fine. I don't mind that. You know, we'll have to see what happens. But you know, that's why this Cucurella signing makes sense. I think, you know, the opportunity was there to sign a player who, you know, was top draw, wanted by top clubs, who was a step up from Marcus Alonso, who can offer something different. Not only can he play as well, the other reason he's a good signing is not only, he's kind of like another Aspilicueta. So not only can he play left wing back, he can play left back. Not only can he play left back, he can play left centre back, go back 3. Not only can he do that, he can play left midfield if you want to switch to a 4 at the back, go 4-4-2 for a game or something, I don't know. Not only that, he can play as a left winger, not only that, he plays as an inside forward. So you've got this player who can go anywhere down the left-hand side for £60 million, who's a young guy, and is kind of setting the club up. So, you know, I think we've made a really, really solid signing there, a good bit of business. So, you know, we just got to see how it goes from there. But, you know, Chilwell's going to take his time. You know, we've still got the strength in those positions. I think. Look, I think if we're just going to do a combined 11, which we will be doing, by the way, on WeRTottenham TV, so make sure you head across to there. Oh my God, I forgot how good I was at doing those. I love doing the little drops. But yeah,
it's good to be back, Lou. Yeah.
Oh mate, no, genuinely it is. I'm really enjoying doing the content again. But yeah, like I think we've got these elements which we can sort out now. And you know, I think we'll be stronger there. I think the midfield battle is going to be really important because we've got some players there which we're going to be looking at going, right, can we win this battle? I mean, one guy I do want
Who will be in your midfield first of all?
Couldn't tell you. It's what you. I think one definitely you're going to see is Conte, but it doesn't. I don't know who the other one will be.
What happened with Conte last season?
He just we kept getting rushed back from injuries. Like he'd had these sustained injuries since Sarri, really.
Because Tuchel made a comment about him at the end of the season, didn't he?
Well, being like he's our most important player.
He's our most important player, but we can never play him or something like that.
Yeah. So he was always injured. Like I think the fact that football had been non-stop since the World Cup for him. You know what? No, before the World Cup, since when he was in that 17-18 season with us.
And even before that with Leicester.
But then like Leicester, he had 2016 Euros, he wasn't in the squad really. Or was he? Was he in the squad?
Yeah, I think he was. No, he wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
so no, he would have been.
15, 16?
Yeah, he would have been,
I mean, we could argue then, so from that 15, 16 potentially, or 17, 18 with that World Cup, he's played non-stop because of COVID as well. You know, we only stopped football for a month in mid-season, so the players were still training because they didn't know when they were going to come back.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had this whole situation where you got a player who, I'm not going to say he was played out of position, because in some cases he was, in some cases he wasn't. You know, I think that you got a player in Conte who was asked to do 3 million different things and, you know, wasn't quite fulfilling that role for better or worse. You know, he was being asked to try different things and, you know, being intercept midfielder, be a holding midfielder, do this, do that, do this, do that, and it just all caught up with him because of the way he plays. You know, he's got so much energy that you know, you think about anybody like genetically, it's going to catch you. I think about, you know, those kids at school that were the cross country runners. That by the time they're in their mid-30s, I can't do it anymore. You know, Conte. I mean, I'm not comparing him to kid cross country runner boy I am, but yeah, you know
exactly what you're doing.
It's like he's literally it's all catching him, and hopefully, you know, he's been given that time just to relax and get into a better position, and you know that's what he needed more than anything really. So we'll have to see what happens with it all, but I think he's going to be our most important player. Alongside him, I'm not sure. I'd like to think it's Kovacic. That's who I'd play.
Probably be Jorginho though, won't it?
Yeah. I'd against the Conte midfield, that kind of...
What's your opinions on Jorginho? Because I think he's overrated.
I wouldn't say he's overrated. I think...
Like he was in conversation for the Ballon d'Or last season or something.
That's overrated.
But think about the reason he was in that conversation was he's one of only 3 players ever, or 4, no 3, because Emerson doesn't really count, to have won in the same season a Champions League, a Euros and a Super Cup. You know, only Pepe and I think it was Pepe Ronaldo, I think the only ones who have done that. So it's like, you know, you've got a player there who was so pivotal to both those sides as well, by the way, that was in that conversation. I'm not a Jorginho hater. I'm not a huge Jorginho fan. I think he's a good player, but for me, it's like I don't see this. Sometimes, like when people are talking about him being like the most important player in our team, I don't see it personally. Yeah. I think that, you know, he's a fantastic player who's very, 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 very good at what he does. You know, when it comes to dictating, making those short passes and moving a team, which we saw with Italy at the Euros and when we won the Champions League, sound top draw. His interceptions aren't. You people will bring out stats, you know, but his interceptions aren't something which you consider a regular interception. It's not someone where he's going to win the ball and then he's going to make the pass and he's won it. It's kind of, he gets in the way, sticks his leg out, it bounces and it goes to one of our other players. So it's intelligent because obviously with his size, he's not a burly defensive midfielder. You know, he's very different. But then people were talking about, for example, when Pep wanted him, right? they got Rodri instead. Rodri can do exactly what Jorginho does, but is also a burly defensive midfielder who can win everything, that has that physicality and that size. So he's a very, 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 very specialist player who I can see has his qualities. But if Juve came calling tomorrow, which is what they're talking about, and said, by the way, we want to take him off your hands, how much? If I was Chelsea, I'd sit there and go, okay, let's have a conversation. Let's see what we're doing here.
How much do you reckon gets him?
They're talking about 30 million quid. But then I think, to be fair...
Has he got not long left on his contract or something?
I think he's got 2 years left on his deal. But then at the same time, to be fair, he's won us the Champions League. He's won us a Europa League. He's been a good servant. He's done his bit. I'd look at it that way. Again,
do you think
if this went out on Twitter, people would want to kill me.
Do you think Kai Havertz is living off that Champions League final goal?
No, I don't think he is. Kai Havertz again is a very, 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 very good player. But right, we had this conversation when that window happened. Me and you spoke about this. We signed God knows how many players, right? And it was like, everyone's like, Chelsea done really, really well in this window. Look, they've signed all these players. Look what they're doing. This is fantastic. Look at all these great players. And then I said to everybody, again, this is an opportunity where Louis Beneventi was right again. I went, got to fit all these players in. Now, fine, we'll fit them in. It'll work. Don't worry about it. It's all good. A few months later, we're struggling to fit in Kai Havertz and find out where he's best and what he does. And, it's stuff like this where it's like, he's not living off the Champions League goal per se, but we don't know where he's at his best. I think
Isn't that a problem? He's 2 years in. You still don't know where he's at his best.
He's a young lad, He
but at Leverkusen they knew.
He was a utility player at Leverkusen. He played everywhere. He played number 6. He played number 8. He played up front. He played as a 10. That's what you can't do with us. For us, I think where he's at his best right now, and the system that we play, he's a very, very, very good false nine. Very good. I think that when Lukaku was off it, and we played Havertz up front last season, we were so much smoother. And we saw that at the beginning of the Everton game as well. The front three of him, Mount and Sterling, you saw this interchange and this smoothness, but we just didn't quite have the finished and end product. So, we've just got to figure out how to get there. But I think Kai Havertz is still a very, very good player who's, undervalued by a lot of people. And I understand why opposition fans, again, it's like there's certain players, for me, there's one I want to ask you about. There are certain players in a team which you don't appreciate because you don't watch them every week. I think Mason Mount's another one. For me, oh my God, Mason Mount for Chelsea is so important. When he's not playing, you lose this glue. He's useful in multiple positions. For me, I think the best example I have of him is I think I like to compare him to Milner. You've got a player there who's just very, very important for how a team operates. Obviously not now so much because Milner's 37, but when he was playing regularly at Man City, when he was playing at Aston Villa, you had a player who wasn't a world beater. When people talk about the conversation of, would you play Phil Foden, Emile Smith-Rowe or Mason Mount? I don't think Mason Mount is in the same conversation as Emile Smith-Rowe and Phil Foden, purely because he's, you're not going to see as many...
I think he's better than Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, but not so if I elaborate, it's not in a bad way where it's like he's not as good, but you're not going to see as many Mason Mount skills on a compilation. Mason Mount's very, very simple in how he plays his football, and it's not a bad thing. I like it. I like those simple things. I love watching Giroud because he just did the stuff which people don't appreciate because you're not going to see it on a show reel. I think that...
Apart from his scorpion kick.
Yeah, I mean, there's a scorpion kick here and there, but, he doesn't do things... Those things he'd do in the game where you go, oh, fucking hell, how's he done that? That's brilliant. Yeah. Little things that people didn't notice, which is why teams and fans loved him so much. Which is why the France team did so well at a World Cup, because even though he wasn't scoring the goals, the way he moved was he allowed Griezmann, he allowed Mbappe to be those star players. Mason Mount is a player in that team which I think it lacks that one player. I think every club at the top, they can work great as a unit, but they also had that game changer. Chelsea don't have that game changer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is potentially arguably that player when Tuchel talks about it, which I completely understand, where he's that one who can win those battles in midfield, which not many people can, which is great. But that's great in the middle of the park. But when you're not scoring goals, you need it, you know. And there are players which we've looked at in the past, and you know we didn't get to do the deal. I think if we got Haaland last season, which I still don't understand why Dortmund went, nah, we'll take half the money from Man City. You know, I think we would have been a completely different beast. You know, Haaland's, obviously he's only played one game in the Premier League, he's played in the Charity Shield as well though, but he looks so good. He had the physicality, but he also had the pace.
That pace is frightening, isn't it?
It's like, you may as well...
How does he win that penalty?
I don't know, but it's like if you're a goalkeeper, it's like standing in front of a train. You're going to get absolutely torn apart. You know, it's insane. And I think that, you know, the way that he plays, and, you know, we lack that. But, you know, there's players, like I said, we're talking about players that don't get appreciated. I'm not putting him in this class, but he probably doesn't get appreciated because I don't watch him. But when I did watch him, I didn't think it was all that. What is it with Rodrigo Bentancur? What do you see in him? Because I don't see anything. Like, why is he so special for this team? Well, tell me.
I think he's very, very, very aggressive, wins a lot of balls in the midfield, and he also enables our attack to really go and flourish. I mean, so many times you just see him win the ball, quick pass forward, win the ball, quick pass forward, keeps things ticking along in the midfield as well. I think he's a really valuable player to have. He really is. I mean, the one place where he has his flaws is sometimes he loses the ball in kind of bad positions on the pitch, but it's getting few and far between as we move on with his Spurs status. But I think he's a really good player to have, and he enables other players in the team to really strut their stuff.
He's got bags and bags of composure as well in that centre of the park. He never panics. He always tries to pick the right option. Sometimes he can be a bit. He can be more progressive. Sometimes he keeps it too safe. But this guy has serious passing ability, really good press resistance ability as well in the centre of the park. And he sets us up in so many attacks. He opens up the space. He opens up the pitch by either beating a player or playing a little pass to a player next to him. And but opposition fans, it might be like, oh, he's just keeping it simple. He's a sideways merchant and stuff like that. But he's so much more than that.
Mate.
Exactly. Everyone would call him Mikel average, but when he's your player, you can appreciate what he does.
Right.
I think Bentancur's very, very similar to that, and I think he does a brilliant job for Spurs. I think he's really helped us in midfield ever since he's come, and I think he's really underappreciated, especially by our opposition fans. I think Tottenham fans have fallen in love with him. I think we really, really like him.
Is he still on loan, or is he a permanent?
No, it's permanent now. It's 20 million. Really, not a lot of money.
Yeah, we're undervalued by the market.
And you're talking about a player like, I do have a feeling, like, because we've got him and Bissouma fighting for that one spot. I got a feeling at some point Bissouma will move to that number one spot, and he'll kind of
be that utility guy to bring in.
Yeah.
Is he going to be your Mikel, where it's 70 minutes and you're 2-0 up and you just want to go, right, on you go, Rodrigo, have fun?
Potentially.
Might well be.
This is it. You're building a squad with those sort of players.
But that's it. Like,
Bentancur.
But that's it. Last year we were looking at our bench and there was literally no one to bring on. Now you're looking at the bench against Southampton, looking at the bench, you've got Bissouma, Richarlison, who wasn't even on the bench, who was suspended for that game. You've got Perisic there, you've got Lucas Moura there, you know, you've got Lenglet there. You've got players that you can call on that's actually going to come on and make a difference. And this year with 5 subs in the Premier League, it could be a massive difference for us.
I think that's big. I think that's the thing which no one's talked about, the 5 subs. Like, to have a good squad, like, I think that's what people forget about when it comes to that conversation. But
I think it's overstated, this whole 5 subs thing.
What do you mean?
Because people may think that it makes a massive difference, but actually, if you make all 5 subs, what's more likely to happen is you disjoint the whole team if you make so many subs in a game.
But isn't it like it's in 3 blocks, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it is. They've done studies in Italy and Germany about the 5, because they've had the 5 sub rule for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And the studies are showing it really doesn't make that much of a difference. And if anything, the more subs you make, the worse results you get. If you're having to make all 5 subs. And actually, they've actually shown that these big teams are less likely to make 5 subs. They're more likely to make 5 subs when they're winning, and not as likely when they're losing or drawing, which is interesting.
The team.
Yeah, I think 5 subs will make a bit of a difference in some games, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference.
Okay, well, it's going to be interesting to see on the weekend. I'm really excited. It's nice.
You reckon you'll win?
Right. Come on, how long have you known me? At what point have I openly gone, yes, we're going to win? Don't click that. You know, so at what point have I gone, yes, we're going to win, it's definitely going to happen? Like,
You seem to be confident against Spurs.
no, I'm not confident if we play Accrington Stanley. I'm there going, if we're playing them in the FA Cup, there's a cup upset here, boys, oh my God. I'm sitting there, I hate it. I hate it. But I think, look, realistically, we just got to see what happens. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I don't think it's going to be a barometer for either of our seasons because I think it's so early on. But
I actually think it's a bit of a statement if Spurs win this weekend.
Yeah?
Massive statement because of how we've been at the past at Stamford Bridge. You know, how we lost to you 3 times in the space of a month last season. Chelsea away is big. It's big because it's actually a statement. I mean, people ask me if Southampton 4-1 at the start of the season is a statement, but that's not a statement. That's just what you should be doing against those teams at home. Going to Chelsea away is historically a very hard game for us, and it has been for many years. So if we can beat you lot this weekend, I actually think it sets us up for a really good season.
Well, we'll have to see. It's going to be an interesting little game, but we'll end it there. Actually, you know, it won't even. We'll show Ben the back quickly, and then we'll crack on. But to be honest, guys, uno momento por favor. Can you see up here? You know, it's going to be a very interesting fixture.
Nice.
Not
bad, Louis. Not bad.
It's almost like I've been trained on the way I'm doing.
You've done good.
You're the third person who's gone, oh, fucking hell, actually, we can cut it. Every time you hear one like, did you actually train, or did you just go to college and fuck about for 3 months?
I was wondering if the certificate was real or not.
It's like, it was when Joe came in last week and he was like, oh fuck. It's like, you actually know what you're doing. So if you do want to book in an appointment, please do make sure you hit the
It's actually not bad. Not bad at all. I'd actually go to say it's good.
But yeah, I think we'll end it there, guys. Preview, it's been exciting. Look forward, I've really enjoyed it. It's been nice having a conversation.
So I shot of both of us, but I've got our haircut.
Yeah, go on, get it on. If you just want to put your heads next to each other, see if you guys can do a game of, you know, tell the difference.
There you go. Yeah, you should have had a before and after.
Oh, I should have done. To be fair, could have done. We'll find a way. Joe, do you reckon we can find a way to show before and after?
There's always a way.
There's always a will. There's a will.
There's a way.
But look, I've really enjoyed the conversation. It's nice having someone else just kind of sat in the chair, just chipping in, having the odd chat. It feels like it's like a proper barbershop. I love it. But yeah, guys, if you've enjoyed this preview, obviously the full thing's gonna be available as an audio file. A podcast, shall we say, on all good podcasting platforms. If you've seen these videos, you'll see that obviously they've been split up into different places as well. So you've been enjoying them throughout the week. But yeah, that's it. It's been great, boys.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you, Louis.
Thanks for having me on.
Over on WeRTottenham TV so we can get some cross-pollination. Sorry,
don't worry. Head over for WeRTottenham TV. You're going to have an opposition preview and also a combined 11 as well. So very exciting stuff.
Very exciting. Well, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on all the socials. Make sure you follow the WeRTottenham boys. It's not like, you know, there's going to be a lot of you coming over from me. But regardless, enjoy it, guys. Take care of yourselves. See you later.
Come on, Spurs.
No, yeah. As always.